Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest video in my Formula 1 2020 My Career Mode with Michael Schumacher in the Haas racing team. Now we are heading into the Baku Grand Prix this weekend. We have no rival currently, and I'm just going to change all my engine settings. One thing I do need to address very quickly at the start of this video today is that I am aware there is a great massive logo in the top right hand corner of the screen. The reason for that is when I recorded this episode, OBS did something a bit weird. It recorded the game in its usual full screen format, but then for some reason it had a window in the top left corner of the screen which also had the game in it. So I had basically picture in picture, and the only way I've been able to fix that here in the editing is to zoom in on the window in the top left corner of the screen and cut out all the rest. However, the overlay in OBS cannot be removed, so you're just going to have to put up with that logo in the top left corner of the screen. Try and ignore it. Hopefully it doesn't obscure any important information as we head into the Grand Prix weekend as we go through. Now obviously practice one, at the end of practice one I did get interviewed and I had to pick my new teammate, new rival. So I am going to possibly go for, I think, Danny Rick. Danny Rick's probably going to be my choice of rival. He gets me the most acclaim if I manage to beat him. Although technically I probably should have gone for maybe Pierre Gasly, because Gasly at this moment in time is the only guy who hasn't scored a point. And by not scoring a point, Gasly is last in the championship. So I'm guessing Gasly would be pretty easy to beat in a rivalry. So maybe I should have gone for him over the Renault. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how things go, obviously, as we head through the sessions. Now, obviously, we're coming into Baku off a very successful Monaco Grand Prix where the team had its first ever 1-2 in the race when Romain Grosjean took the win, with me in second, just ahead of Lewis in third. Obviously I had some gearbox issues in that race, having used my gearbox for 7 races.
Open the display with the MFD
feel that's one that maybe got away from me.
And with all the cars now over the line, let's see our top 3 again. Hamilton, Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas.
But the main thing is I've just gone through the
we're in for an exceptional weekend.
I've just gone through the practice P1 and P2, doing all my practice programs, getting my R&D points ready for obviously practice 3, which of course I simulate as always. I don't do practice 3. And then after practice 3, when we get all our research points, I'll see what we can develop in the R&D tree. Sure we fit all our good engine parts. We're putting engine 2 back in. Obviously we get gearbox 2 when we start practice 3 and quali. So we simulate practice 3. I know I never bother. I don't like doing laps in practice 3. There's no benefit to it. There's no more practice programs to do. I've completed them all. So we've got 1,601 points. I've got a little bit of an acclaim increase, which is very nice. So we'll go and spend those. We'll start getting something queued up in the R&D, see what we can develop on the car. And then we'll head into qualifying. Well, again, hopefully, get a good place. Get a good result in the race. For somebody who wasn't feeling very hopeful of the last 2 races, the result in Monaco has actually given me a bit more confidence heading into this race. So we've got the chance of doing a major upgrade to front wing end plates to reduce drag. Okay, let's do that. Let's develop that. Drag is something we definitely need to get to grips with on this car. We need to reduce the drag, because it's very obvious, certainly around here at Baku, certainly down the long start finish straight, that long straight here at Baku. If I don't have DRS and I don't have ERS, we actually go quite slowly down that start finish. We reach a point where we just cannot actually gain any speed. We kind of top out because of the car's too draggy. And you'll probably notice that when we get into the race, because there's obviously a few times in the race where I have the DRS on, going down the ERS, the overtake button pressed as I'm going down the straight, and we're over 200 miles an hour. I then run out of ERS, so the ERS disables, and the car immediately starts to slow down as the drag comes back in. We haven't got the power to overcome the drag. So unfortunately qualifying is actually in the rain, light rain, so there's not going to be any tyre strategies to worry about here. Everybody's going to be qualifying on the same tyres, so the only thing that will do is give us options in the race. Now I've come out to do obviously my flying lap, and I've got a McLaren in front of me. And I don't know if this is Carlos Sainz or Lando Norris at this point, but on my flying lap he pretty much blocked me most of the way around the track. And the only real good thing is that obviously at this point he's giving me a massive slipstream and a huge tow down this run to the line, so I actually don't suffer too badly as a result. However, he does kind of move around a little bit and break my front wing, having set my fastest lap time there.
Mind that front wing, it'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
I'm gonna guess that was Norris, because Sainz still hadn't set a time at that point. So Lando, he's caused me some damage. Look, he's caused me damage.
Car repairs have set us back a little.
But we're doing fairly okay. We got through Q1, that was never an issue. Danny Rick, obviously my new rival, and Lewis Hamilton look like they may not be setting times here. So let's go and have a look at Danny Rick. Here comes Danny Rick. Currently in 14th place, because this is his first flying lap. An eye on him. Only good enough for 11th, 148.0. I don't think, unless he runs again, he might not be making it through Q3, which means we'll have beaten him in the first qualifying, so that will give us a bit of a lead. That'll give us a 1-point lead, because we'll complete qualifying, he won't, because he's going to get eliminated. So and Lewis as well, down in 12th. That's not a good place for Lewis to be. Mercedes are having some issues, I think, at the minute. Or Lewis certainly seems to be having issues in qualifying. He's had some bad races. He's had some bad qualifyings. In fact, he crashed out in Barcelona, if you remember. Didn't even set a time in qualifying. Started last because he crashed in Q1 on his flying lap. But did a fantastic comeback drive. He did. To take second place behind me. But I think this is, I don't think this is a flying lap. I think this is a into the pits lap. He's not going fast enough to be doing a quality. Yeah, he's boxing. So that's not a good example to follow. Vettel's down there. He's in the drop. He's in the elimination zone. So we've got Danny Rick, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Lando Norris, and Antonio Giovinazzi, all in the drop zone, all in elimination. George Russell in the Williams up in 9th. What a result for George Russell. That Williams is doing pretty good under George's hands. Right, I'm going to try and do something a little bit different here in Q3. I'm not going to go out straight away as soon as the session starts. In fact, I'm going to let all these guys go out first and set a time. Because normally these guys only do one lap. So hopefully I'll have the track nice and clear and by myself. And hopefully they'll get rid of some of the water, if there's any standing water. They'll clear the track a bit for me.
To view information on your current levels of tyre wear and damage, press the MFD button to open the multifunction display, and then again to cycle to the tyres and damage screen.
Oh, Verstappen looks like he's going for a flyer, is he? Right, we're off. We're going. Q3. Q1 and Q2, by the way, I did on the same set of intermediate tyres. I only used one set of inters. So for Q3, I'm using a brand new set of intermediates. But it looks to me like it's raining a lot harder than it was for the first two sessions. ...107 miles an hour. Quickly slam on the brakes. Make the first corner. And away we go. I also come to a good realisation today as well. I realised why in the practice timetables I'm so bad and so poorly placed compared to the other cars. And it's because I just realised today that I don't actually use fuel modes and ERS when I'm doing my practice programs. I leave the car in standard mix, standard engine mode, and I'd never use the overtake button when I'm doing my practice programs. So all the way through free practice, I wonder why my lap times are so bad. And then suddenly when I do qualifying, why I'm setting such massively different times. And it's because obviously in qualifying you're using party mode and maximum fuel. Ooh, I've just clipped the front wing there. That may cost me some time through this final sector.
Be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage.
Probably on course for a really good lap time there, and I've probably cost myself now. We're going to have enough ERS. I even tried to do a Nico Rosberg at the end, look. Absolutely drive into the line, I forgot to brake. I wonder if the yellow flags might
sustain this level of damage.
I wonder if bringing out the yellow flags might stop anybody from posting a fast time, but it doesn't look like it because Bottas and Leclerc have gone faster than me. So no, the yellow flag, there wasn't enough of a yellow flag caution to convince them that they needed to slow down. Session is over.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we
Third
begin,
place.
let's have a quick look
Not
at those who
bad.
will be fronting the grid. Leclerc,
Charles
Bottas,
Leclerc on pole
and Schumacher.
from
With
Valtteri.
qualifying complete, all that remains is the
George
main
Russell
event.
in 5th
We'll be
place,
live
look.
and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
What a result for the Williams driver again. Ahead of Perez in the tracing point. And as I said, we've beat Danny Rick, so that's a 1 point lead already in the rivalry with 6 races to go. A little bit of acclaim for our 3rd place grid place qualifying. It's all good stuff, this. All very good stuff.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
Yeah, another good qualifying session there. However, it is going to rain in the race, apparently, according to Jeff. We're going to have some rain at the end of the race. So, it's going to make the tyre choice interesting. Because obviously, because it was a wet qualifying, everybody gets free tyre choice in the race. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the hard tyre, go as long as I can into the race, hope it starts raining, and make my one and only pit stop onto the inters or the wets and see what happens. And kind of hope and rely on the fact that the other drivers are going to start on softs or mediums and need to make extra stops. Because they'll box to change from their softs or mediums to the hards or mediums, and then when the rain comes they're going to have to box again. So I think this is a 2-stop race for most of the drivers. I'm going to try and 1-stop it, but it's going to really depend on the rain. And hopefully it comes sooner rather than later.
Grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Schumacher, Verstappen, George Russell and Perez, Grosjean, Sainz, Ocon and Daniel Kvyat, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel and Norris, Giovinazzi, Albon, Pierre Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen, Latifi and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Let's find out. Let's head down to the race. Like I say,
after the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
And I am going to go for hard to potentially medium, but like I say, I don't expect to use the medium. I expect my one and only pit stop will be onto the wet tyres because it's going to rain. So 5 red lights, and away we go. Got a great start again, and I've already passed Bottas and Leclerc into the first corner. So once again, my superior starting ability helps me gain places off the line as the AI struggles with wheel spin and everything, like it seems to always do. And I'm now on the hard tyre. I've got plenty of fuel, so I can use rich mix for the first few laps of the race. I'm going to be using ERS, obviously. I just need to try and get these tyres warmed up a bit because they're a little bit cold at the minute. That's why I messed up that corner. I'm just going to take it very carefully through this castle section of the circuit.
That's a decent start.
It's the only bit of the track compared to Monaco. I have to say I like Baku more than Monaco, definitely. It's just that stupid castle section, that bit there just ruins the circuit for me, because that's the bit where I'm likely to fall up and trip over. All this part of the circuit is absolutely brilliant, because this is just flat out speed, and the walls aren't quite as close as they are at Monaco, so you don't feel as claustrophobic, and you generally have a little bit more confidence around here, I think. But like I say, once you get into that twisty castle section, that's when you start to get a little bit nervous. And that's the bit that always just upsets me a little bit and keeps me from really enjoying and liking this circuit. Because I had a good race here in Formula 2 last season. But obviously these Formula 1 cars are a different beast, and you just can't afford to just relax for a second. I mean, even like this part of the circuit now, I don't necessarily dislike this part of the circuit. I still feel it's a little bit more forgiving than Monaco. It's a little bit wider. This part of the circuit gets a little bit annoying. It's very easy to spin out of that corner. And then obviously this bit is the bit where it's just painful. I hate this part of the circuit. Absolutely hate it. It's so easy there to smash your car to pieces. So easy. And then this corner coming up here can be quite tricky as well, because if you don't get your braking right, you're into that wall. As you saw in qualifying when I knocked my front wing off in Q3. See, here's exactly what I was talking about earlier. I've lost ERS, so now the car's actually got slower down that straight. I was actually faster at one point. I finished up at 202 miles an hour on that straight, but I was actually much faster at the start of it because I had the ERS. That's the drag that the car has, and when I don't use the ERS down that straight, I am giving so much time back to the other drivers and the other cars that can go faster. I mean, the Mercedes down that start and finish straight is insane. If you've actually looked at their speed down that start and finish straight, it's ridiculous. They have like no drag whatsoever on their car. It just slips through the air beautifully. That's why Bottas and Hamilton can be quite competitive in these races. And why a guy like Hamilton can slide his way through the field very easily and make up a lot of places, because everybody on that start and finish straight is just a sitting duck. It's just a sitting duck to the Mercs. Especially if they get DRS, when the DRS is enabled. So that's why my R&D has to be focused now on drag reduction. Got to focus on drag reduction. I know we've done a lot of chassis work to try and get weight off the car. Weight's not too bad in itself. No, we can, because the weight is distributed evenly over the whole car. But we need to start now looking at reducing drag. Because I'm only just able to get over 200 miles an hour down that straight, and that's not good enough. And we've got the most powerful engine, according to the performance charts. The Ferrari engine in this Haas car is the most powerful on the grid, even better than the works Ferrari. Apparently. Which, you know, is probably true in real life. We know for a fact the Alphas and the Haas's tend to be faster than the actual works Ferrari this season in real life because of Ferrari's woes with their car. And obviously we've just had the Monza Italian Grand Prix in real life, and neither of the Ferraris finished their home race. Vettel obviously retired very early from the Monza Grand Prix with brake failure in his works Ferrari, and then obviously Charlie Leclerc had that absolutely amazing crash out of the parabolica into the tyre barrier, which brought out the red flag and stopped the race, which ended up resulting in obviously Pierre Gasly getting a win, his first ever Formula 1 win in a race which basically Mercedes absolutely cocked up when they pitted Lewis when the pit lane was closed by the safety car, and got that 10-second stop-go penalty. I must admit though, I felt that was a bit harsh because they've never ever closed the pit lane before when they put out a safety car, and nearly every team just instinctively boxes when there's a safety car deployed on track if they're near the pits, and that just completely caught Mercedes out, that did, and Lewis, and the penalty was just obviously very harsh given that the circumstances, that then obviously the race got stopped and red flagged, which meant Lewis's huge massive lead that he had over everybody was taken away from him, and then he ended up obviously last when he served his penalty back when they got racing again. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. My view has always been, when it comes to safety cars and stuff, I personally think if there's a virtual safety car or a safety car or a red flag, then no car should be able to pit.
Rain is forecast in just over 10
No
minutes
car should be
time.
able to pit
Rain in 10
under
minutes.
a caution or anything. All pit stops must be done during normal green flag racing conditions, I think. I think that Formula 1 should make it an actual rule that if there is a virtual safety car or a safety car, the pit lane is closed. If a race is stopped, red flagged for whatever reason, all the cars return to the pits, but you're not allowed to change the tyres or anything on them, is what I would say. Again, your pit stops must be done during actual full racing, because obviously someone like Lance Stroll, who finished third in the Italian Grand Prix, he didn't actually make a pit stop during the race. He never ever actually stopped during the race, during green flag racing. He made his tyre change in the pits under the red flag,
We're leading our
and
teammate by 9.4
several drivers commented
seconds.
after the race, including like Lando Norris, that's 30 seconds that he has saved, and that's why he's in the position then he's in come the end of the race, because the other cars did actually pit properly in the race. Some people say, ah, well, it's luck and all that, but I think it would solve all the issues, you know. None of these free pit stops or cheap pit stops under safety cars or whatever. You have to do it, you have to make your pit stop during actual green flag racing. And that's my little Formula 1 rant over for today, folks. Back to the Baku Grand Prix, which I am still leading. From Billy Bottas, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and my own teammate, Mr. Grosjean, who is down there. It's interesting that Verstappen is the only guy on soft tyres. I noticed Bottas and Leclerc are both on hard tyres. They've gone for the same kind of pit strategy as me. Grosjean is there on medium tyres. He's a bit of an odd man out at this point. He's going to be on the hard tyres, I think, for the end of the race, maybe. Unless, of course, it rains. Which we know it's forecast to do. And we're getting going. Making sure I use the ERS during these long acceleration zones down down the start straight, and also down this DRS straight here. That's where I kind of need to make use of my my speed. So I don't lose too much, because that's where the other cars are going to obviously be gaining their ground on me during down those two straights, especially the teams that don't have as much drag. We set a nice purple first sector. I don't think at any point in this race I set a fast second sector. I don't think I'm fast through this second sector ever. I think a lot of cars go through the castle sector faster than me. So yeah, I never set a purple sector 2. Somebody else is always faster through the middle sector of this circuit. See, there's no ERS here, and I am struggling to get... Now I've enabled ERS. And suddenly I can reach 207 miles an hour.
Lap of the race.
I can do 207 miles an hour with ERS assistance down that straight. Without it, I can barely get up to 200. It's a shame we don't have bigger ERS batteries, enabling me to deploy more power over a longer period of time.
Radar suggests some weather is going to hit in around 5 minutes' time, so stay on your toes.
Rain is coming in 5 minutes, according to Jeff. Right.
Safety car. No overtaking. Reduce your pace. Keep your delta number positive as we form up. Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk
quite a few cars out of the race there.
Immediately.
Gasly is out of the race. Stroll is out of the race. Ocon is out of the race. And there's been quite an accident there, I reckon, somewhere on the track. So, yet again, I do believe we have a safety car. And I believe we have had a safety car. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've had a safety car at every single race, haven't we? Did we have one at Monaco? I don't think... No, we might not have had one at Monaco. Or did we? Or did we just have a VSC at Monaco? I can't remember now. I know we've had safety cars at pretty much most races, which is obviously a huge difference to F2 where we had none. Never had a safety car in our Formula 2 season.
Roman is in for a stop, approaching the safety car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car.
We've had one every single race, more or less. Had a lot more crashes and retirements, of course, in Formula 1. Come on, Bert. You need to get that safety car going a bit faster. Your safety car's too slow. Come on, Bert. Come on, Bert, you should be flying down here. Oh, I'm going to be losing so much tyre temperature right now because Bert Mylander's driving so slow.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Copy.
No, we're going to keep the current strategy, Jeff. We're not boxing. These hard tyres will now actually do a couple of extra laps because we've had a couple of slow laps under the safety car. So this actually helps us get towards that rain and that dodgy weather that was forecasted for the end of the race.
Coming up to the safety car now. Do not pass it. You are the leader. Follow the safety car.
Going to pass it, Jeff. I'm not an idiot. I know the rules. Starting to get very overcast, so the rain is definitely coming. Tell you what, we might play a little bit of a game here into this casual section. See if everybody's awake behind me by just giving everyone a bit of a brake test here. Hey, what's Bottas doing? Bottas has overtaken me. Bottas is cheating, everybody. What's he doing? Bottas has overtaken the safety car and been disqualified. Valtteri Bottas has overtaken the safety car and has been disqualified from the race. What on earth was going through Bottas's mind there? Bottas has just had a complete breakdown in the car. He overtook me, which was bad enough, but he's then overtook the safety car. Billy Bottas out of the race, black flagged. Oh, what an embarrassment for Billy Bottas.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. You will be controlling the pace on the restart. Keep it steady until the safety car has reached
Right, I'm
the
going
pit
for
lane.
it. Rich mix, overtake mode. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. But the game actually there slowed me back
Okay,
down.
clear.
The game actually sabotaged my restart then. It put the brakes on.
The car behind is dropping back
Because I
about
think
3/10 a
I
lap.
accelerated a little bit too early. Maybe when I was catching the safety car. Kind of ruined my awesome restart there. Because I'd gone. And then it slowed me up. At the worst possible moment. But thankfully, I still seem to be in a good lead. And I can see the rain is now falling. We've got
Okay, be
spots
careful
of
on those
rain
slicks.
on
These
the
conditions
camera.
are making the line a bit greasy, but we're still nowhere near the changeover point.
It started to rain. It started to spit. Tell you what, these tyres are flipping frozen cold. Not giving me a lot of grip at the minute. And Hamilton,
Behind is 1.6
he's in
seconds.
second place. Lewis Hamilton, coming from 12th on the grid, has now moved up into second place. I'm guessing he started on the hard tyres as well. Some of the midfield guys seem to have started on softs or mediums and they've boxed. Just seems a bit silly. I'm guessing Hamilton's going for the one-stop strategy as well then.
The forecast suggests this rain is going to keep getting stronger for at least the next 15 minutes.
Next 15 minutes it's going to get heavier. Okay. Wait and see when Jeff tells us that the switch over time is in. If DRS gets disabled, we know it's time to
even though we're
box.
seeing cars struggle in these conditions, if we pit for inters now, we're going to be too slow and we'll burn them out. Make the best of it for the time being.
Keep going. Jeff says it's not wet enough then for inters yet. Like I say, the big clue, as soon as race control disables the DRS, you know the track is wet and that's the time to put on the switch the tyres. Same way the other way, when DRS gets re-enabled, that's when you know the track's dry enough for slicks. That's kind of how I judge my tyres, when to change tyres. Using a bit of rich mix again, which I saved earlier.
The track conditions aren't improving. It's your choice as to whether you want to fit the wets next time you come in. Gap to teammate behind is 3.5 seconds.
Leclerc's boxed. I don't know if the track's wet enough yet. I know Jeff said to me it's my decision whether to come in or not. I don't think the track's wet enough yet, Jeff.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Okay, he wants me to box when? I'm not going to be pressing the buttons now because I'm going through the... What a time, Jeff, to tell me about tyre strategy. As I'm going through the casual section and I need to be concentrated.
Confirmed.
He wants me to box on lap 13 for intermediates, which is this lap. Surprisingly.
Got that confirmed.
And he still wants me to box on this lap. Yeah, Hamilton's right behind us, so we're going to box for intermediate tyres then. Oh,
Okay,
that was close.
Box. We're adjusting the strategy. Come in this lap.
DRS is disabled, so yeah, perfect call. Perfect decision by the team to come in this lap. DRS got disabled. In fact, everyone's coming in. Hamilton, Norris has stayed out. Sainz is pitted. Verstappen's
DRS has been
pitting.
disabled by the stewards. DRS will be offline. Go, go, go. You'll be
My
racing on the exit.
teammate stayed out. Grosjean stayed out.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Latifi and Raikkonen are ahead of us. They've not boxed for Inters yet. They must be coming in this lap then. The teams are not double stacking. Some of the guys are having to do an extra lap in these worsening conditions on the slicks. So we've got a nice fresh set of Inters. Hopefully they're a fresh set of Inters. I didn't actually check to see whether Jeff gave me a new set or whether he actually gave me one of the used sets from qualifying. Based on how the end of the race goes, I'm going to guess that maybe these weren't a new set. Because I would have thought these would have had plenty of life to get to the end of the race. I think these are the set I used in Q1 and 2. I think these are used tyres. Grosjean is in the
Roman
pits.
is in the pits.
So he's fitting the Inters this lap. Right, okay. It's a long pit straight.
Gap to car in front is 9.2 seconds.
And we've still got first place, although Grosjean has now actually performed the overcut by stopping later. And he's actually got into second place. By staying out that extra lap, he's actually gained time, gained places. So me and Grosjean are now 1 and 2. The Haas boys are leading another Grand Prix. This is exactly the same as Monaco a week ago. We're on for a 1-2 finish. This is unbelievable. The only difference is, this week I've got a brand new gearbox. So
At least another 10 minutes
it's
until
going to be a
this
fair
rain evens out.
fight.
Stay alert
Grosjean
out
isn't
there.
going to just be able to breeze up behind me and come past me this time, because I've got a gearbox that works. So Roman, if you want first place, you're going to have to fight for it. It's not going to be handed to you. And obviously we've just seen there that Carlos Sainz is out of the race, so that's a bad day for the Spaniard. No points for him.
We've got a lot of spare energy. Use your overtake button.
I'm using the overtake button, Jeff. Not quite able to hit 207 anymore on these intermediate tyres. It changes the I guess the ride height's a little bit higher on the inters, which means we get a little bit more draggy now, so our top speed is even more compromised. This race is actually going to plan. This is what I wanted. One stop, hard to inters because of the rain. Most of the other cars will have now stopped twice. Some of them will have that pitted early. Some of the cars which didn't pit early, like Hamilton. I know Hamilton's on a one stop, same as me. Vettel might also be on a one-stopper. Because he qualified quite down the order. So he probably went long on his first stint. Careful with the walls. Don't get too flipping. Don't, you know, lose concentration for a second. Could all end in tears else. Definitely all end in tears. Overtake. Oh, yeah. Push the overtake button.
Okay, clear.
Still
We're leading our
quite,
teammate by 3.4
still
seconds.
Can't quite get up the speed. Losing. Grosjean is out of the session. Oh no! What's happened to Roman? He's gone from P2 to DNF. Did he have an accident? What's the deal?
Roman's race is over. He's stopped.
Mechanical failure then. He's had a breakdown. Something's gone wrong with the car. Okay. Reliability issue for Roman Grosjean then. Not a crash. I'm guessing it probably didn't crash because otherwise we would have had a caution safety car type deal. See, I'm not using ERS at all now, and I can't get to 200 miles an hour even. So that's 6 miles an hour I'm losing on that straight without ERS. That's going to enable some of the guys behind me to catch up. But I needed to make sure I charged the battery a bit because I've been using the ERS quite heavy. Now's a good time to try and maybe get a couple of laps where I build up the charge again. Whilst I have got a bit of a lead, let them use up their battery to catch me, and then when they come up behind me and have no ERS, I can use my ERS, which hopefully I've recharged at that point, to pull away from them again. But I notice Hamilton has passed Vettel, so he's going to be charging up behind Verstappen very quickly, and then once he's passed Verstappen, he's going to be coming to get me. I'm going to use the ERS. We need that speed down here.
The rain's getting worse. Be very careful.
Rain's getting worse. Okay, Jeff. I hope it doesn't get too worse that we actually need to pit for the full wets. The blue wet tyres.
I know these conditions look pretty terrible, but that water is draining away. I think the intermediate is going to stay the tyre of choice for a while yet.
Okay, that's good to know, Jeff. So the track apparently drains quite quickly here, as you would expect from a street circuit with actual drainage built into it, because it's a public road by day. So we might not need the blue tyres then, because the track apparently does dry. Unless the rain gets a lot harder.
Hamilton has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far.
As Lewis Hamilton has now engaged hammer time. He's obviously had the message from Bono. And he's using that party mode in the Mercedes engine. Which, by the way, we get to still use in the Formula 1 game. They're not going to take away the engine modes in the game. I know in real Formula 1 they've taken away the engine modes and party modes as of this weekend's Monaco Grand Prix that we've just had, which hasn't really done anything to change the outcome of the races really. Mercedes are still as quick as ever before. quicker than anybody else.
Some information on Albon. They seem to have an issue.
In actual fact, it seemed to work against the teams that complained about the party modes. Red Bull, in particular, they were the ones that campaigned the most and lobbied the most for the rule change to scrap engine modes. And they were the ones that came a cropper with it when Max Verstappen had to retire because of an engine fault. Because his engine was set too high. His engine settings were too high and he would have ended up blowing his engine if he'd carried on racing. Bottas as well suffered because in the race, the engine settings he chose to use, he couldn't actually catch any of the cars in front of him. Because he started to overheat and suffer temperature issues, which Lewis didn't have a problem with.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
Because obviously Lewis got dropped to the back of the grid after his stop and go penalty and ended up charging back through the field, overtaking everybody to finish 7th. So, and even set a fastest lap on the way. So Lewis had no issues overtaking anybody. But it's certainly going to be interesting to see how it plays out over future races. This decision where you have to pick an engine mode for qualifying and then you have to stay in that engine mode then and for the whole qualifying and race. You're not allowed to change it. Because obviously we've got Mugello coming up this week. And then we've got a bit of a break. And then we've got Russia, Germany, Portugal. And then obviously we go to Bahrain and then Abu Dhabi. We go back to Italy, don't we, then, for Imola as well. Which is going to be a weird weekend because that's just Saturday and Sunday. There's no free practice. It's literally Saturday practice, qualifying, and then Sunday race. 2 days. It's going to make it interesting for the teams. Because they're not going to get to do a lot of testing on the track. And it's a track that's not been on the Formula 1 calendar for a lot of years. So they're not going to have any data for it.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
Oh, I've done a purple lap. Good. Put the pressure on everybody. Especially Hamilton, who was catching me. Trouble is, I've used nearly all my ERS. Really depleted my battery now. So, I'm going to have to do some serious recharging for a couple of laps. Because I may need it to defend. I know there's not a lot of laps left at this point in the race. We are nearly at the end, believe it or not. I know it's gone by so fast.
Tyre situation is an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got right now.
Yeah, it's not wet. It's not. There's no need to switch to the other wet tyres. These are fine. The track's not going to get that wet. We need full wets. And I imagine I can get these to the end, even though they are starting to feel a little bit ropey with the tyre wear. Like I say, I don't think these were a brand new set.
To mix 2, fuel to mix
I
2.
don't think Jeff put a brand new set on. I think this is the set I used in Q1 and Q2 because they've got so much wear on them. And we haven't done the laps to warrant having this much wear on them. Especially as I'm pretty easy going on tyres, generally speaking. I tend to be pretty light on tyres. Which is why I can always go longer than the AI in races, because they wear their tyres out faster than I do.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
That's good, because there's only 2 laps of the race left. So I went purple in Sector 1, but I haven't been able to go quicker in Sector 2. Like I say, I never set a purple Sector 2. And I've set a red Sector 2, so that's bad. Because otherwise I was on course for breaking the fastest lap again.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Oh, I've already noticed it, Jeff. Because you fucking messed up and didn't give me brand new tyres. I wonder if any of the other teams have done that as well. Because everybody that made it through qualifying would have used a new set in all 3, would have used a set in Q1, Q2 and Q3. So I wonder if everybody else is having the tyre issues, if they've been fitted with used inters instead of new ones. I mean, not that it will make a great deal of difference. But the fact that I use this set of tyres in 2 sessions means I'm probably suffering the worst. And of course, Lewis is now right behind me in his Mercedes. Car 44. He knows. Getting a little bit out of shape. Oh, it's a bit of a slide there. We managed to... Lewis couldn't find a way past us. And I noticed he had a bit of a tank slappy moment there as well. Maybe his tyres are going off. Got Vettel right behind him. And it looks like Vettel's actually side by side with Lewis, but Lewis is boxing. Lewis has gone into the pits.
This is your final lap of the race.
Lewis has run out of tyres. Hamilton's tyres have failed him.
2 seconds a lap to the car behind. 2 seconds.
With only 1 lap to go, Lewis has had a Bono, my tyres have gone moment. Like I say, I'm beginning to I'm feeling these tyres are pretty much done. So anybody else, any of the other guys that pitted on the same lap as me, they must be really starting to struggle on these tyres. Because like I say, I'm a lot kinder on my tyres. And okay, yes, mine are probably more worn than theirs, but still. So now we've got Vettel and Verstappen behind us. Oh, look at that red Ferrari. Come on. We've done the work. We've worked our arses off again this weekend. It would be such a shame to lose the race now at this point and get overtaken with so few corners to go. Come on. Hit that overtake. You've got the ERS. Let's do it. Let's punch it. Come on. Punch it, Chewie. Let's get that engine going. We do not want the Ferrari passing us out on the line, stealing the victory away from us. But no, we've done it. First place. Yes.
Fantastic drive. Just fantastic. Wow. You deserved that race win.
What a race. And, amazingly, the 2 races I feared most this season, we've actually got quite a lot out of. We've actually done so much better than I ever dreamed of in those races. So now we head into the European season with all the proper racetracks to come.
Potential to liven up a race and mix up the order.
That's got to be a huge confidence boost for the team.
It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
Massive confidence boost.
Race and an even greater victory for Haas. Here they come now to
Head
step
to
out
Canada
onto the
next,
top of the podium.
which is going to be an
They'll
interesting
incredibly
race.
happy with today's result.
Might be a little bit closer because, you know, it's not quite as power dependent. There are a few corners where downforce is going to be more of an issue.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that leader's
Lewis
taken a bit of a
ran
knock
out
today.
of tyres
Let's focus on the driver
and
of the
ended
day.
up
Anthony
down in
Davidson.
10th
Who do you
place.
pick?
For me, it's Kimi Raikkonen. Someone who definitely doesn't get enough
Bottas
attention for how
disqualified,
well
of
he
course,
performs out on
and
the
then
track.
It's time
Gasly,
to see how things
Ricardo.
are shaping up in the Constructors'
Quite a few,
Championship. Another team that
quite a few
excelled today was
DNFs there.
Williams, who make further progress up the
And
table.
amazingly,
And with
we
that,
are in
we wrap
second
up
place
another
in
weekend
the
of motorsport.
Constructors.
But with more races lined
We
up,
have moved
be
up.
sure to join us when
Drivers'
we come
table, we
back
are second,
with
and in the
more
Constructors'
Formula One.
Championship, we hold 4th place. So that is exactly where Haas want to be. But let's go and have a look at that race director. So Ocon, Kvyat, Stroll, Ricciardo, they all crashed at the same time and failed to finish at the same time. Bottas obviously disqualified for overtaking the safety car. And then Carlos Sainz and Grosjean, they both suffered mechanical failures and retired after the safety car. So no problem for them. However, like I say, Gasly, he didn't finish again. He's still the, like I say, still the only driver yet to score a point in this championship season now after all these races, which is obviously a massive contrast to real life Formula One.
Really looks in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. Things are
Answer the
looking up after
questions.
last week, aren't they?
Well, last week was a good race. We came second. Again, we're just gonna tickle the aero department because obviously we've got that major upgrade in development and we don't want them to fail it.
This team are performing as well as they could do.
Ferrari, I'd like to see them perform better, but you know, it ain't gonna happen.
Comfortable in the wet weather today?
Nah, I hate the rain. You just have to try your best regardless, though. So there ain't gonna be any acclaim bonus
Great.
for that
Well, that's
answer, but no penalties either. And there we go. Successful weekend, and obviously a fantastic result in my new rivalry with Danny Rick, because he failed to finish the race. So that's 5 points to me, giving me an already excellent 6-point advantage over Danny Rick after just one race. And obviously my contract is coming up for renegotiation soon. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to go very well for me. We have, however, had a part fail in the R&D department. And unfortunately, we only have 1 week to the Canadian Grand Prix, so we're not going to be able to restart that, and we don't have the points anyway. So, unfortunately, our chassis department let us down. And like I say, 28 days until we get to sign a new contract with the team, where hopefully they will recognise my fantastic contribution so far and pay me a lot more money. A lot more money. But anyway, folks, for now, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to tune in next time for the next race. Goodbye for now, folks.